All right, we're about to go to a news conference with Chief Murphy Paul about the situation with the 2 police officers that were shot this afternoon. We've been waiting at the scene for this press conference. Murphy Paul just pulled up, and you can see Mayor Broom is next to him over there. A few members from all over the law enforcement community, Baton Rouge Police, EBRSO. We also have, of course, the SWAT team there trying to get the suspect out of the house. Let's listen in.
Good evening. We wanted to give you an update on the incident that happened today in Baton Rouge. I'm Chief Murphy Paul of the Baton Rouge Police Department. Today at approximately 0930 hours, our officers responded in the 1800 block of Pamela Drive. Our police officers were looking for a murder suspect. That murder suspect name was Ronnie Cato, 36 years of age. He's believed to be the suspect in a homicide that happened earlier this morning. Our police officers received a tip that the suspect was at 3155 Conrad Street. While our officers were checking the scene, Cato fired upon our officers. 2 officers were struck by gunfire and transported to the hospital. There was a 4-hour standoff. After negotiations with the Baton Rouge Police Department SWAT team and the EBR Sheriff's Office SWAT team, Cato surrendered. During the standoff, Cato also fired shots at our SRT officers who returned fire during the incident. As a result of the shooting, we lost a 21-year veteran, the Baton Rouge Police Department. We're not going to be releasing his name to make sure that the proper notifications go out. The second officer who was shot is a 7-year veteran of the police department, and he's still fighting for his life at the hospital. And we're asking you to keep him in your prayers. Lift them up. You know, our officers, we talk about being public servants and the responsibility that goes on with being a law enforcement officer. And this is the call that no chief wants to get, no police officer wants to hear: an officer die. But not only were these police officers public servants, they're fathers, husbands, loved by their family, and already dealing with the stress that we have to deal with this current COVID threat that we're in. Still, our heroes step up. Please keep our department in your prayers. Keep the families in your prayers. At the appropriate time, those names will be released. We're asking you to be respectful of that. And we want to thank our partners that are standing behind us, because when that call came in, they all came. The Sheriff's Office, the Mayor's Office, the FBI, ATF, the Constable, all our partners. We want to thank them because they've been here offering assistance. We're not going to take any questions right now, and I'm asking you to be respectful of that. I hope that I was able to give you enough information at this time. That's going to conclude this conference. Thank you. God bless. Oh, I'm sorry. We did. He was taken in custody. He was taken in custody without incident. I believe I may have mentioned that, but he was taken in custody without incident, and he's going to be booked appropriately after an interview at the East Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office. We want to thank the community, those who've come forward and are helping us put the pieces of this puzzle together so that we can do a thorough investigation. The Baton Rouge Police Department will be conducting the investigation. Our detectives will be conducting the investigation, okay? Thank you. Oh, and the state police, I'm sorry. And our state police partners, I'm so sorry. Thank you.
That was Chief Murphy Paul. A quick recap of what he was just saying. We know that 2 officers were hurt in the shooting, and of course, one of them is now deceased. They will not be releasing the names of those officers right now. They're still making those notifications. We do know now that the suspect that was in that 4-hour standoff with police is in custody. That is 36-year-old Ronnie Cato. The reason the police were responding to his home in the first place was because he was considered a murder suspect for an earlier shooting, and they were there to arrest him. Of course, it did not go the way they planned, and now we know that those 2 officers were in the hospital. One of them is dead. One of them is still fighting for his life, according to Chief Paul. And we expect to hear more from police at some point this evening. Now we're going to go to Sydney Kern, who is at Our Lady of the Lake on Essen Lane. Sydney, what is going on out there right now?
Bess, well, a lot quieter here than it was 15 minutes ago. That's when the procession began for that fallen officer. It was a big procession, long line of BRPD units, EBR sheriff's units, and Zachary PD units, and some on their motorcycles. They left about 15 minutes from here, right behind me, Our Lady of the Lake, taking a left onto Essen toward I-12. And now, but they had gotten here around about 1:30, and officers kept coming in groups to come out here. We were unsure what the condition of the officer was. As we said, there are 2. One is still in the hospital recovering, trying to fight for his life right now, but obviously a very touching, respectable thing that happened for the officer that has fallen, which we learned was a 21-year-old veteran. There are still some Baton Rouge units out here behind me, but not nearly as much as there were, and we're going to stay out here until we find out the condition of that second officer. Bess?
Soon as we find out more information and as soon as the officers release the names of those 2 men. Now we move to new information about coronavirus in Louisiana. The Louisiana Department of Health is reporting over 26,000 cases and 1,670 deaths. There are 1,701 patients in the hospital.